So I'm Junkfood, a local cultivator in DC. Just small batch. Actually, I like to consider a micro batch because I really just flower like 2 3x6 tables. And yeah, and that's what I like to do. I love it. I started by default, honestly. I've always been in love with the plant, since the first time I smoked weed. I wanted to figure out how to make it because I guess that's just how my mind works. Always thinking about how things work and shit like that. So yeah, I just fell in love with growing up, and honestly, I've only really been growing seriously, and I consider like serious hobbyist, quite frankly. But I've only really been doing it about 4 years, and yeah, I'm very passionate about it. So I think it's honestly strain dependent, to be honest. I mean, from my experience, I've tasted fire-ass organic and I've tasted fire-ass salts. But it's all about the strain, because I've tasted shitty-ass organic batches, grown by good growers, and, shitty salt batches grown by good growers. So I think it's definitely strain dependent, for sure, definitely. I was thinking about that on the way here. That's a really good one. If I had to say, I'm speaking from experience and what I've seen, I'm going to say genetics over environment. Not to say that environment is just as important, but genetics definitely plays the principal role in finding fire-ass weed. Honestly, because I think cannabis is like very, how do I put it, like stress dependent. You know what I mean? Like how we get the plant to express certain terpenes and shit. Like the plant might have been predisposed to, expressing certain terpenes, but you stress it a certain way and you get something completely different. So it's really cool playing with the plants. I like to think of it as like Geppetto, you know what I mean? Like playing with the plants and seeing how they react. I would say mycerine would be my first, and my second, like in lieu with that, would be like linalool. I really like that. It's like a really unique terp profile, and you really don't see it in a lot of flower nowadays. So I like to see stuff like that. That's unique. I don't know. That's like a really that's a really heady question, because I do believe that plants talk. Now, whether or not they talk to each other, I don't know. I would assume so, but I know that like plants definitely have their own language, and like to be a good grower, you have to be observant. Like I'm still learning to this day, and I'll always continue to learn. You know what I mean? And from what I see is like the plants have a certain body language, like people do. You know what I mean? And then they have this certain complexion and like a certain tint, and you have to be very observant as a good grower. And so these are all things that you're able to see. You know what I mean? When you're a talking plant, you know what I mean? Like a good grower knows how to talk plant. Like you come into a room and you see some plants like wilted or whatever, stressed out. You look a little closer at it, and then you might go back and think about, okay, what did I do 24 hours ago or 48 hours ago that was different, something like that. Or it could just be something stupid, simple. Yes and no. Because I listen to every grower at every stage to see what they do and see, what kind of outcomes they got. And then I just use that and kind of like, do my own due diligence and make my own decision and record my decision and, record my results. And so, yeah, I think that's really important though, for sure. But advice, yeah, definitely. Absolutely. You know what I mean? Because we're all in like the same boat, you know what I mean? We're all just trying to find like some fire ass weed. That's all it comes down to. Okay, so on like an international level, I'm gonna say like internationally recognized, I'm gonna say like Dio Farms, like Deep East. That's somebody that like I definitely I respect the way he moves, and I like his product, and I'm like trying to take notes, but he's a big time grower, so it's really hard to take notes from somebody that doesn't really disclose too much. But that's kind of like what keeps me intrigued, but I definitely look at him as a grower. But there's also some like scientists and shit. Like I was talking with Juiced Up a while ago on the gram, and we were talking about Bruce Bugsby. And like, he's not like a fucking weed grower, but he understands the plant. He speaks plant, you know what I'm saying? And he does his data, does his research. So like, that's somebody that I would definitely respect or look up to, you know what I mean? And on like a local level, my homie Jowie Gron, he's definitely like a fire ass cultivator, and I respect him for his like sharpness and being meticulous and just doing his due diligence, doing his homework, and like, you know, executing decisions and shit. So that's really what it comes down to, you know, for me, and like what I aspire to be, and you know what I'm saying, what I look at, you know, in somebody that grows. Particularly the DMV, nah, because I'm gonna say that like competition is where like shit comes out, you know what I mean? Like steel sharpens steel, you know what I mean? As long as it's not like no fucking like bashful ego, but it's like, yeah, I got the best shit, okay, like match me, like let's see who, you know what I'm saying? Like let's see what the people say or something like that. Like that's the type of shit I fuck with, because yeah, steel sharpens steel, and like we're all trying to push to like be on the map, you know, as a whole. So I feel like, yeah, it's gonna better the community. Like, I'm not saying like, see, somebody that's not cultivating, they really don't have a word. So like if they're like ego tripping and they're not a grower, like it doesn't even really matter. So, but yeah, if you're a grower, then yeah, just like burn something and like, let's fucking see who's got fire, you know what I mean? Speaking plant, bro. Speaking plant, to be honest, I mean, like, this day and age, we all have these tools that we're able to buy, you know, that can help us fucking try to understand the plant more, like the medium and how saturated it is, and you know, the PPFD from the lights, and just trying to record all these fucking numbers so we can like make the best assessment as to like what the plant might need, or try to give it the best environment it needs to thrive in. But I'd say the hardest part is if you're doing all that stuff blind, I guess. Like if you're just doing it by feel, and that's where like that touch, like that green thumb touch comes into play. Like, you know, like picking up the pots if you don't have like a moisture meter, you know what I'm saying? Like doing it by weight, or things like that, you know what I'm saying? Things you pick up along the line. Hardest thing would be speaking plant, knowing what that plant needs, because I've definitely had some strains like phenos that I just had to chop up, because number one, I didn't have time to figure out what it needed, and number two, I just couldn't figure it out. You know what I'm saying? Like the shit was, I mean, like it happened, like one specific strain, like one specific cross, I just couldn't figure out what it needed, and I ended up like chopping them all the way back to the veg tent, because I didn't want to waste time on them, you know what I mean? So yeah, a perfect balance, and somebody that's open-minded to the technology advancing and the results that they're getting. Honestly, just someone that's aware and open-minded and observant, you know, so you gotta be diligent, you know. Yeah, 100%. So that, I really don't have too much experience in like the different growing mediums, you know, on like a review standpoint, you know what I mean? I've really just focused on cocoa. First, when I first started, I was using plain cocoa and amending, you know, certain things, and then I ended up switching to another cocoa, like Pro Mix, and then I'm on
average pot grower.
Huh?
Average pot grower.
Average pod grower?
Yeah, sorry, it's just this guy.
Oh, he's in here? Oh, he's right on. Good shit. So yeah, fucking, I went to like Pro Mix, and then now I'm on like the Floraflex quick fills, you know what I mean? Because they're easy to hide, and you know, they're convenient. But mind you, when I first got the Floraflex quick fills, like I didn't fucking do my due diligence, and you know what I'm saying, I'm fucking like building up dehydrated cocoa with like plain RO water, and like wondering why my plants are like stressing out, like looking for food and shit. So that was a learning curve. But yeah, I set on the quick fills once I figured them out. So yeah, just straight cocoa and water soluble nutrients. DC, if you're listening, like, we need like solid fucking landlords, man, for sure. Like, if you're sitting on space, bro, and you're not doing shit with it, like, let's talk for sure. So yeah. But yeah, Suds 3, I'm really on that Suds 3. It's like a cross of the soap crossed with runts. And I know people are like tired of that runts profile and shit, but I mean, good weed is good weed, man.